Aries, hi. So this is going to be a reading for May 4th through the 10th. And I'll take a look into your recent past, your current energies, and your immediate future. And then I'll close it off with a couple of cards from the universe for you. And these are general readings, so they may not resonate for all of you. If they do, there is an extended. At the end of the video, you can check out the link for that in the description box below if you want. Let's see, Aries. What do we got? The overall energy for the reading, the Three of Pentacles. We got a partnership here with someone. Could be a friendship, could be someone you're working with, could even be romantic. We shall see. But in the recent past, the King of Swords, the Justice card, the Three of Cups. Okay, there's a sense of fairness here that you carry in a situation. Balance, fairness, you know, with somebody else. You're presenting yourself as very clear, very there with it. You know, very, you know, if you mean the car is red, then the car is red, even if it's green. It's like, no, I'm telling you, this is what I know to be true, so this is what's gonna pan through this one. So you're showing up with a lot of honesty and clarity and, you know, just you. Or that's the plan here. In the current situation, the Wheel of Fortune, the Strength card, the Two of Swords. Ooh! No more clarity. Quite the opposite. Lots of confusion here. And it's tough because, again, you knew, you were very certain of certain things there, and then you lost that. Where now you know shit about shit. And I think we're talking about the same situation, or this is separate and you're just finding yourself in a very confused place altogether. But we'll see. In the immediate future, the Knight of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles. You're definitely pulling all of your focus in a particular direction that seems to be working out for you. And it seems to bring a sense of balance, a sense of like it brings you a little back in your steadiness. Very passionate too about whatever this is, but it's almost like you know. Okay, I know that if I start focusing on that, that'll help me come back to a sense of balance, you know? So I don't know what this is. I'm assuming it has to do with work or something you're working on, but something you're also very passionate about. So the minute you pull most of your focus there, things are not looking as confusing anymore. But let's clarify. Let's do the Three of Pentacles. For the Three of Pentacles, you get the Three of Swords, the Fool, the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, this is... I don't know. I see this partnership and then I see pain over it. And then I see, because there's pain over it, that somehow impacts something you're working on or something that you're involved in. You know, so whoever this is might actually be involved too there in something, just as you are. Or not even. They don't have to be involved. But because things are the way they are within that partnership, it may influence you in maybe your work or your, you know. So there's a correlation there between the two, this partnership and whatever you're invested in at this moment in time. For the King of Swords in the recent past, you get the Moon, the Page of Wands, the High Priestess. You feel really good about this though. Back there, it's not just, oh, your mind is clear and it's kind of like there's so much clarity that you're convinced that this is gonna work out or something. No, there's feeling to it too. There's like, I feel good about it. You know, I don't just think it's gonna work out. I feel good about it, you know. Okay. So what the fuck happened? Let me do the Justice card. The Five of Wands, the Two of Cups, the Emperor. Maybe butting of heads a little bit here and there. Like initially not a big thing. Just, you know, just whatever. We're just gonna agree to disagree. I think that's how it started. Okay. And you did. initially. Agree to disagree. For the Three of Cups in the recent past, you get the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, no, the Eight of Wands, the Magician. Okay, things have been picking up there. Yeah, it was just that little, differences of opinion or whatever the hell. Sometimes I'm of the firm belief that it's better to deal with someone that's different than you, because that way you have a lot more to learn rather than someone that's your identical copy. And it's like, well, you're boring because I already know these. You know what I mean? So the let's agree to disagree part can happen, especially if you're dealing with someone that's a little different than you. But then I see that you pushed through. You were fine. You were manifesting great things here. The world was your freaking oyster there. Okay. Let me see the Wheel of Fortune in the current situation. The Six of Cups, the Queen of Cups, the Knight of Wands. Something changed though, and I'm not sure if we're talking about something in the sense of someone, you, them, both of you. Something changed. Something changed, and it definitely impacted this connection. The crazy part about it is that something changed for the better, but it influenced this connection for the worse, I think, from what I can see here. Or it might as we speak. Let me do the Strength card, the Eight of Cups, the Four of Cups, the Five of Swords. And if this is you or them, whoever this is, I think it's you, showing up here and saying, it's okay, I don't mind, I don't care. Anyways, it doesn't affect me, whatsoever. It's a bunch of bullshit, whoever's doing this, because somebody's upset here. Like, for real. It's not just, So, sitting here and telling me, it's not a big deal, it's not affecting me. From what I can see, you're upset, so that to me means it affected you, or it affects you, whatever the hell is going on here. For the Two of Swords, you get the Hermit, the Knight of Pentacles, the Empress. I kind of get the sense that it's just a natural outgrowing of something, like again, maybe you've grown, maybe they've grown, maybe the both of you have grown separately or something. It feels, energetically speaking, like a natural occurrence that sometimes happens. You may have grown apart, or may have grown again in separate directions without actually realizing that that's what happened, and now you find yourself in this, what the fuck is going on? At some point in time, you were walking the common path, and then you started going this way, and then they started going this way. And then at some point, one of you, which I think it's you, or maybe even both, stops. It's like, what the, weren't they just here? They were. Not just, but they were at some point. So, that gap of time that you walked separate there, you just didn't realize that it was even there. So that's why, weren't they just there? No, not just. This might have happened a while ago. But it's confusing and it's hurtful and it's painful, even if it is natural. And you may actually acknowledge it as being a natural separation of sorts here. It's still frustrating. It's still like, what the fuck? How did I not see that? None of you did. And that's how these things kind of happen. I think it's one of those things. Because ultimately you're giving me a sense of pursuing your path. I was pursuing my path, just like maybe they pursued theirs, And then the confusion sets in. It's like, but wasn't that a common path though? It was up until one point when it wasn't anymore. And it sometimes just kind of happens like that. I can see, again, how it would be frustrating and, confusing, but It's, again, energetically speaking, it just kind of makes sense. And you'll probably figure that one out after you come out of the confusion over it. For the Knight of Wands in the immediate future, you get the Hangman, the Five of Pentacles, the Three of Cups. All of it is natural. Even you putting this behind you, like, okay, you're stopping, you get confused for a little bit, you stay in that confusion for a little bit, and then you start moving on, basically. So basically, when you start walking again from that confusion, is the part of closing this off. Like, okay, that experience there that I was just part of, I'm closing it off when I decide to take the next few steps. And that's exactly what's happening here. It comes through as a natural process. Like, all of what I'm seeing here is quite organic, quite natural from an energetic standpoint. Humanly, there's going to be some frustration, there's going to be some thinking, there's going to be some, what the fuck, but, and then there's going to be some, okay, here we go, we're doing this, but yeah, this is the part in which you actually start minding your business, focusing on whatever it is that's important to you, and actually through that, you're closing that experience off. For the Nine of Pentacles, you get the Six of Swords, the Death card, the King of Wands. And it's gonna feel completed at some point in your, in your journey there. Because this is you starting to close it off. And then at some point in time, with each day, you close it off more and more. And then at some point, you're gonna be like, chapter close. Enough distance has been created here from this experience to actually feel that that chapter has closed off. Okay, let me do the Eight of Pentacles. In the immediate future, you get the Ace of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the Ten of Swords. You're still thinking about it and still kind of in the back of your mind there, but energetically speaking, you're actually closing this chapter off. And then you keep on going with whatever it is you're focusing on. And then I still kind of see you thinking about that moment in time in which things actually closed off. It's kind of in the back of your mind there. But it doesn't impact you. It doesn't have any effect on you anymore. You just kind of carry it with you, almost like throwing it in your baggage there as a chapter closed, which is good that you're closing that chapter. So yeah, interesting situation you got going on here. But let me see what the universe has as a final advice for you. The Ace of Swords, the Chariot, the Two of Wands. Yeah, I feel like you're in that place of confusion right now and trying to figure out when that split happened. You're kind of coming closer and closer to the point in which you turn around and start moving forward here on your own path. So kind of coming out of the confusion part. Now the universe sits right there in the middle and saying, you're where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be with things. Okay. Anyways, that's what I have for you. Hope this helped, and I'll see you next time. Bye.